Well, hello and welcome to Producer Dan. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. So, as part of my vintage gear playlists, which I really love doing, today we're going to learn how the Wurlitzer electric piano became one of the most recognizable instruments since the 1960s in all music genres for almost 80 years. So let's get started. The Wurlitzer electric piano is an electromechanical instrument, normally with a 64-note keyboard, where sound is created when a felt tip hammer strikes a thin metal reed. This is done next to an electrostatic pickup system, then amplified either by a small speaker on the piano itself or through an external outlet to an amplifier or a sound system. And here are some well-known artists and songs that feature the Wurlitzer electric piano. Ray Charles used it in the song What I'd Say. Marvin Gaye used it in his song I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Aretha Franklin, I Never Loved a Man. Pink Floyd in their song Money. Elton John played the Wurlitzer on his hit Benny and the Jets. Led Zeppelin, Misty Mountain Hop. Queen, You're My Best Friend. The Carpenters, Top of the World. Supertramp used it in many of their songs. The Logical Song, Dreamer, Goodbye Stranger. Van Halen used it in their hit And the Cradle Will Rock. You can also hear the Wurlitzer in many of the songs by 07, a contemporary recording group. In 1954, the Rudolf Wurlitzer Company used a design for an electric piano that was patented by Benjamin F. Meissner. So Benjamin F. Meissner was a very successful American inventor and radio engineer who studied electrical engineering at Purdue University from 1913 until 1916. And in the 1920s, he sold 50 of his patents to the RCA company for $750,000. He used that money to start his own business, Meissner Inventions, Inc. So in 1954, the very first Wurlitzer electric pianos were manufactured. These were the 100 series, and they were made from painted fiberboard and had one speaker. And in 1965, the 120 model was manufactured. It had a lighter cabinet, updated reeds, electromagnetic shielding to reduce hum, and an optional external tone cabinet with a tremolo effect. The 140 models came with the tremolo effect on the keyboard. This was mislabeled vibrato. Vibrato pertains to a pitch going up and down rather than a panning left to right or a change in volume. All of the earlier models used vacuum tube circuitry. The 145B model was the last to use the vacuum tube circuitry and was discontinued in 1965. The 140B model was the first to be manufactured with the more modern transistor technology, and it would be manufactured up until 1968. And in 1968, the new 200 model was introduced. This had a molded plastic lid to replace the wooden body. It was much lighter. It had improved action, an updated tremolo effect, which took advantage of the now included two speakers. The new plastic lids were available in black, forest green, red, and beige. The 200 became the most popular of the Wurlitzer models, selling over 88,000 units. In 1974, the 200 model was updated to the 200A, which had further shielding over the pickups and the reeds to control hum. This was manufactured until 1983. So the Wurlitzer has a lot in common with its cousin, the Fender Rhodes electric piano. The earliest Fender Rhodes pianos were very small and created to give piano lessons to wounded soldiers in convalescent hospitals during World War II. The Wurlitzer electric piano was also developed as a teaching tool, giving teachers and students a way to communicate in classes where multiple piano players could play for their teacher through headphones. And the Fender Rhodes would also go on to be used this way, where multiple students could play for their instructor and receive personal feedback through headphones. So the Wurlitzer and the Rhodes are similar in ways, but also very different in others. For example, the Wurlitzer has more of a sharper, more driven kind of sound. When it's played hard, it naturally has kind of a sawtooth kind of wave. Whereas the Rhodes electric piano has more of a natural bell sound or a chime sound, more rounded, more like a sine wave. The Rhodes can be driven through amplification and given more of a harder sound that way through distortion. But it's the Wurlitzer that naturally has that sharper driven sound. Now you can still purchase a vintage Wurlitzer on sites like Reverb or eBay for thousands of dollars, depending on their condition. So there are some very good keyboards that are available today, which offer excellent emulations of the Wurlitzer piano. For example, the Korg SV1 is considered to be one of the most accurate emulations of the Wurlitzer. Or the Nord stage piano is also very popular. There are some excellent plugins available. For example, the Arturia Wurlitzer you can get for about $99. And I use the Air Technologies Velvet, which has very good emulations of the Rhodes early models and the Wurlitzer 200A model, which is what you've been listening to throughout this video. There's also some very interesting and hopeful news on WurlitzerPianos.com, where they're advertising an upcoming 250D Wurlitzer. And that's all the information they're giving at this moment. But you can enter your email address and get on their newsletter and get that information as it comes out. I'm not sure if this is a mechanical piano like the original or a very good digital emulation. We'll see. Anyway, I want to thank you very much for watching my video today. Check out the other instruments on my vintage gear playlist. Instruments and gear that have steered the course of music history and music production. Thanks again for watching the video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care.